Hello, ELTA 2017. My paper today is entitled Empowering Leadership in Education, the Southeast Asian Context. Empowering educational leadership is a model of leadership that helps to bring out the innate potential in teachers and facilitates their optimal performance for the benefit of students. The nature of empowering leadership in education has been well studied in education literature. However, theories and best practices of empowering educational leadership have been proposed mainly from a Western Anglo-Saxon cultural scenario. Empowering leadership that these theories envisage is democratic, participatory, and facilitative in its nature. Such a model of empowering leadership in the field of education means that the principal and other leaders in a school acts as a facilitator in decision making, and teachers have a role in major decision making in the school, including curriculum planning and teaching material preparation, even budget. This model of leadership has been touted as the best practice in the West since the 1990s, when teacher empowerment became a sort of buzzword in education circles. However, how applicable is this model of educational leadership in non-Western contexts, particularly in Southeast Asia with its diverse cultural, geographical, religious, social, socio-political, and socio-economical heritage? This is a question that has been posed by education researchers in China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. My research in Brunei Darussalam, which is a Southeast Asian country, looked at the nature of education leadership that is considered to be empowering by teachers in this context. I conducted a focused ethnographic study in a private secondary school in Brunei Darussalam between the years 2013 and 2015. My focused ethnographic study made use of participant observation, ethnographic interviews, and document analysis as its methods of data collection and analysis. The results of my study show that empowering educational leadership in the Southeast Asian cultural context is very different from the model given by the existing theories of empowering educational leadership in extant literature. Effective empowering educational leadership in Southeast Asia is less participative than the existing models in education literature. The model that emerges from the findings of my study is the leader as a benevolent autocrat who sets down rules for the welfare of his followers and insists that these rules are followed. Such a leader closely monitors, guides, and literally tells his followers what to do, how to do, and when to do something. The dimensions of empowering educational leadership that emerges from my study are as follows. Appreciation, which is showing interest and involvement in teachers' initiatives, appreciating and rewarding achievements. Secondly, support, which is moral support, professional support, and support for risk-taking and innovative ideas. Thirdly, promoting professional growth by sharing professional knowledge, mentoring, and arranging workshops. Number 4, trust, which is entrusting teachers with important responsibilities, promoting teachers' leadership positions, and delegating if teachers are ready and willing. Number 5, being demanding, giving demanding tasks and challenges, and encouraging new learning to teachers who are ready to extend themselves. Number 6, being fair and transparent. Number 7, aligning vision which means aligning education goals and methods with those of teachers, giving meaningful tasks, simplifying procedures, and not being bureaucratic. Number 8, sharing power of decision making in areas where teachers have a stake. Number 9, strict supervision, which is monitoring constantly, giving feedback, disciplining, and being strict, holding teachers accountable, and having high expectations. Number 10, nurturing, being caring, protecting, and giving individualized attention to teachers. Number 11, open communication. Number 12, treating teachers with respect. Number 13, modeling professional and respectable behavior, able to bring about school improvement and being tolerant to different views. These 13 features of empowering leadership in the current study, these are the findings from my current study, and the features of empowering leadership presented in the School Leader Empowering Behavior, which is an instrument developed and validated in the Singapore context by Lee and Nee in 2013, have several commonalities. The 7 items in their scale in Singapore are delegation of authority, providing intellectual stimulation, giving acknowledgement and recognition, articulating a vision, fostering collaborative relationships, providing individualized concern and support, providing role modeling. These are the 7 dimensions of empowering leadership in the Singapore study. The sole difference is fostering collaborative relationships among staff, that is considered an empowering leadership feature in the Singapore context. In the current study, my study, teachers did not seem to think of this as a responsibility of the leader. Most of them believed that the groupism that existed in the staff room, was the result of lack of open communication and trust, both among themselves and on the principal. They seemed to believe that if there was open communication and trust, there would be more collaboration among the staff. It also seemed that they were not aware of possible principal roles in fostering collaborative behavior among the staff. These 2 Asian studies, the Singapore study and my study in Brunei Darussalam, may now be juxtaposed with 7 features identified in a US-based study by Blaze and Blaze in 2001 on empowering leadership. The features identified by them are: number 1, developing trust; number 2, establishing shared governance structures; number 3, supporting teachers; number 4, encouraging autonomy and innovation; number 5, role modeling professionalism; number 6, minimizing threat and encouraging risk; number 7, appreciating and rewarding hard work and good results; and number 8, establishing structures for problem solving. Comparing the current study and the American study, the differences in perceptions of empowering leadership are clear. In the current study, teachers are asking for effective supervision, whereas in the US context, the teachers are asking for the opposite, which is shared governance structures and autonomy. I repeat, in the current study, in my study in Brunei, teachers are asking for effective supervision, whereas in the US context, teachers are asking for shared governance and autonomy. Both the current study and Singapore study mention nurturing and individualized care, whereas such personal dimensions are absent in the American study. Given below is a closer portrayal. I'm going to now give you a closer portrayal of empowering leadership according to the results of my study. The benevolent autocrat. In my study, teachers observed that the absence of strict supervision and personalized nurturing were impeding their empowerment, and suggested that a leader who exhibits these behaviors would have had a positive empowering effect on them and the school. It appears to be a unique cultural phenomenon that teachers ask for school leaders who are strict supervisors and yet would be nurturing. In this study, some of the major problems that teachers pointed out as demotivating were the absence of monitoring and feedback by school leaders, especially the principal. There was a distinct felt need for leadership and supervision. Leadership and supervision. A common problem was that the principal of that period did not care enough to monitor teachers' work or to talk to them about their work. In 2002, three researchers, Young, Irby, and Brown, pointed out that the power that is wielded by the leader in the Southeast Asian cultures that follow Confucianism is benevolent power that takes care of subordinates. The hierarchical and patriarchal nature of the Asian family is extended to schools where the autocratic authority of the principal is accepted. But this authority is benevolent, knows and does what is best for teachers. Another way to understand this is to look at the power dynamics in the empowerment context. The power in empowerment is understood in Western studies as power with, which is collegial, and power from within, which is self-empowerment, and power to, which is delegating and authorizing, not power over, which means domination. However, the notion of power as power over assumes a positive character in the cultural context of this study, my study, as a benevolent yet strict authority who cares for subordinates and engages in empowerment facilitating behaviors for the welfare of the subordinates, yet at the same time insists on adherence to accepted rules and norms for excellent teaching and learning. This power over need not be dictatorial, negative power. It can be beneficial power. Indeed, hierarchy, acceptance of large differences in power and status, and respect for authority is at the heart of East Asian cultures. This is a cultural characteristic that Hofstede refers to as power distance. Here, the power over dimension of power dynamics is in evidence and explains the empowerment experience of teachers. Strict supervision is not a dimension in the Singaporean model. However, the nurturing dimension is expressed as individualized concern and support. This could be because new curricular demands in Singapore schools had given rise to more spontaneous collegiality among teachers, and this had resulted in changes in the principal's work style. But both strict supervision and nurturing are absent in the American model perhaps because the implicit hierarchy in these behaviors is alien to the Western egalitarian culture. In the school scenario, the principal is the school leader who is the benevolent autocrat in the Southeast Asian cultural context. Decision making is entirely done by the principal and his or her team, and teachers are not part of it. The difference between this model and the Western model of participatory leadership is quite obvious. What is the difference for this? What is the reason for this difference? The difference lies in culture. Southeast Asian culture is high power distance and collectivistic in culture, in nature, to borrow the concepts given by Hofstede. In addition, there is the Malay Islamic cultural values, Buddhist values, and Confucian values. All these gives rise to a culture that values hierarchy and places less value on the individual. The school is an extension of the family, where the father is the supreme power center and everyone else obeys him. These findings have significant relevance for theory, policy, and practice of educational leadership in the Southeast Asian region, especially in recent times where educational policymakers are looking across the globe for best practices. The take home message today from me is that empowering educational leadership and similar concepts in education do not look the same across the globe and takes on different nuances of meaning across different cultures. Thank you.